And I love her to death. That's my friend. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back live on the Philippe Matthews Show after hours. Thank you for tuning in. This is a big topic, big discussion, very heated topic. Many of you know the show that I do, Philippe Matthews Show Live. On this show, I get to cuss and act up a little bit. So we're talking about today sleeping with the enemy, interracial relationships, and dating outside of your race. And I couldn't think of the two most prolific people to talk about this topic would be Emunah Y'srael and Rashida Strober. Emunah Y'srael is the creator of Soulonomics 101 and is the author of My Brother, My Keeper, The Angry Black Woman Syndrome Revisited, and the B Midbar Journal, which is a 12-step guide, for examination and purification. Rashida Strober is known as the dark-skinned activist. I believe the only one in the world, but there's another one that she was talking about, but I don't know about her, and I haven't never met her, so Rashida, to me, is the only one in the planet that's doing this. She is also the author of 3 phenomenal books, Darkism, which is her latest book, and you might not be able to see it right now on the camera, but you know, she did write the book. A Dark Woman's Revenge. I got to mess with her a little bit. Dark Woman's Revenge and How to Be the Hottest Dark-Skinned Chick on the Planet. Ladies, thank you for being with me today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right, let's get into it here. So the topic is interracial relationships and dating. Emunah, you have been doing since January, I believe, on your channel, Slave Narratives, and it has been absolutely phenomenal. That being said, you have learned a lot, your viewers have learned a lot, your followers have learned a lot. Not that you maybe would have been open to dating outside of your race before, but my assumption would be as a result of really understanding the mindset, the consciousness of what we call the Euroasian, that in this day and age, at this current time, interracial relationships is just completely off the table. How am I doing?
I mean, yeah, it's once you dive off into history and really understand the dynamics, depending on where you are and why and how things kind of played out, it makes you have a different perspective outside of it's about me, you know, who I love, who I want to be with. And when you look at more as a national thing and how it deals with your people, your community, and your family, one would have to think 2, 3, and 4 times before you integrate into spaces that historically have rejected you. Let's just say that. And so definitely, you know, I could definitely go into more of how laying with the other nations, specifically in this case the European, whether it be Portuguese, Dutch, whatever the case may be, how that played out to the colorism issue that we have in this space and time. So that's going to kind of lead us to it. But yeah, definitely, that history is going to wake you up. Let me just say that.
Well, yeah, let's get into it, Emunah, because how this show came about, ladies and gentlemen, is my last show. Oh Lord, I done so many damn shows with Emunah. I don't lost count. But one of the shows that I did with Emunah, we were in the green room. We were talking, and I was telling her a story about a guy I know who is a dark-skinned brother who is married to a white gal who he has never been with a black woman. They met in I want to say either grade school or high school. Married, quote unquote, his high school sweetheart. And has 2 beautiful biracial daughters, and but he's supposedly a Rastafarian, and supposed to know about Black lives, and he's supposed to be down for the cause, if you will. And when I was telling Emunah this story about this guy, she was shaking her head, and I was like, well, why are you shaking your head? And she was like, well, these things aren't making a lot of sense. Talk to me about Emunah, and we'll bring you in a moment, Rashida. Talk to me, Emunah, about why that doesn't make sense. That this brother is, went to school and took African studies and in college, and but never has been with a black woman. Married a white woman, is 30-something years of age, and has 2 biracial babies. What's going on in this narrative?
It doesn't make sense on the logical level as we're looking at it. But if we talk about epigenetics, which you talk about often on your show, and if you talk about historical reality that we are maybe disconnected from, in his experience, somewhere based on what I am seeing and what I'm reading, it makes sense on another level. You understand what I'm saying? To him, and for some of our people, like I said, have been attracted to other nations because of different factors, like whether or not they have been integrated in your family long ago when you didn't know, or whatever trauma, whatever soul injury was passed on to you. I was trying to tell Brother Philippe that the European, and many people have said this, the European woman was, that integration between the black man and the European woman has always been off limits during this time of slavery in America. Okay? And so although the European man and the black woman was a common dynamic because she was often raped, molested, and abused by him, the other way around is a taboo. And so oftentimes our men want that one thing that was off limits, which is the woman, no matter how she looks. You know, she could look like, okay, why are you with her? But, you know, for whatever reason, they want that one thing that was off limits. Or my other theory is that they want to get even on an epigenetic level with the fact that you have violated their women, so now I'm going to be with yours. You know, it gets deeper, but yeah, that's the kind of...
That's some powerful logic. So let's look at the epigenetics of that, because Rashida Strober is, like I said, the dark-skinned activist, and brought something to my attention that I had kind of knew about, but I didn't know it was that prolific and pervasive, but I do see that it is, and that is, as a result of this, there's a lot of brothers, both light-skinned and dark-skinned, that don't like dark-skinned women. And that is insane to me. I don't understand the logic behind it. Rashida, come in with us and talk to us about your experiences as it relates to interracial relationships and what it's like to be a melinated sister kissed by the sun, who has been literally discriminated against because you are a dark-skinned sister.
Well, it's no excuse for interracial dating as far as I'm concerned. I don't give any black person a pass no matter what argument that they come up with. And that's
really? Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah, no, I don't give them excuses.
Okay,
and that's coming from a person.
I'm in a relationship with a sister for the last 15 years. If you see me with a white woman, you're just going to shoot me. I know you are, so it's not going to happen. But
you might get a dirty look. I'm going to be honest. You might get a dirty look. I might come on the internet and talk bad about you. I might even write a book about you. I'm just being honest. I might talk about
this is what I love about you. You are authentic. You will go on, and you will cut. Now, on her show, ladies and gentlemen, she cussed you out. Rashida will cuss you out if you come in foul. And I appreciate that level of honesty. So yeah, please continue.
I'm just not making no excuses for it. And I do understand the dynamics of slavery and white supremacy and oppression, especially for a person that has studied and understands the history of our people in relation to white supremacy. For that person to go and say, you know what, I'm going to be with a non-black woman, is hypocrisy. The person is just, I ain't going to even say, I want to say something else, but I'm not going to say that. But that's what I'm going to leave that one alone. But
you can say it on this show, but your child is present, so you can't say it really, right?
The one thing I can't say.
Say it,
but
don't
that's
say it in front of the truth.
And those type of black men need to be called out. Those are the type of black men that I can't stand. I call them fake conscious. Okay, you spend all, and I've been around a lot of fake conscious ones in these different black organizations that they speak one thing, they're for one thing, they study, they're these scholars.
This is one of the things I'm talking about. This guy, he went to school and got a college degree in African sciences or whatever, the African history, and he's supposed to be a brother who knows about our history. Yep. And has never been with a black woman, married a white woman since high school. They've been together for years, and and became a Rastafarian. I don't know and understand any of this, and so that's why one of the reasons why I want to do this show, to try to bring some kind of clarity to it, because I done lost my damn mind trying to understand this brother.
Well, this has been going on for a while. I mean, you have people like Sheikh Anta Diop. That wrote Civilization or Barbarism. He wrote a lot of books. This is one of the guys that I consider to be a premier intellectual. But as a person, do I like him? I feel he's a sellout. Why? Because he married a white woman. This man has all this education. He's a PhD. He went head to head with the top Egyptologists, white Egyptologists, to prove that, you know, the original Egyptians were black, but yet you turn around and you marry a white woman. That's the hypocrisy to me. You know what I'm saying? So, and even the person that I consider to be the first dark-skinned activist, even though she didn't call herself that, she married a white man. So it doesn't matter. Some of these people, they know. Hold on one second, Lauren. Some of these people, they know the history. They understand. They're not stupid. They just don't care. It's what they want to do. And that's why I said, I can't make no excuses for you unless you are a mentally challenged or you a little child. But if you're in the middle, you know what you're doing.
Right. Well, let's. What do you think about what Emunah just said about you know I've done a lot of shows about epigenetics and the intergenerational psychological trauma that has been inflicted on us as a result of slavery and being descendants of slaves. And I'm rereading right now the ISIS papers by Francis, one of our ancestors, Francis Cress Welsing. And and I recommend, if you have not read this book, ladies and gentlemen, please, it's essential. What we're looking at is, when Emunah was talking about this, do you give people a pass, Rashida, who might be, in a sense, out of their mind because they're so indoctrinated in trying to either fit in or perhaps in some morbid sense get back or create some level of a psychological revenge by being with a white person, either male or female? Do you give that argument any credence?
If the person is in a situation as the dark-skinned man that you described, with all this information and all these degrees, and they understand the history of what has happened to our people, no, absolutely not.
Nice.
Now,
okay.
if a person has no knowledge of self, and I've seen this again in Black liberation movements. I've seen young people, for example, for example, let me just put their name out there. When I joined the Uhuru movement back in 2000, because I got a lot of respect for the Uhuru movement. When I joined them back in, I believe, 99 or 98, I went to school with a friend of mine. He came through with his white girlfriend. I'm looking at him like, what in the f is this? You know what I'm saying? But he's the type of person that I would give a pass to because he was young. We was out of high school. We was still trying to develop our worldview. So the Uhuru movement was putting out all these pamphlets saying, hey, come on down here. Let's talk about police brutality, et cetera, et cetera. So, and also when you came into the movement, when you came for these simple little meetings, you was getting political education, Black education. So I could give a pass to people that are just coming into the understanding, but the learned people, these intellectuals with all these PhDs, I'm not going to forgive you. I'm not going to give you a pass.
Wow.
I'm going to view you as a sellout. I can't.
Mommy,
no.
Let me tell you something.
And nor will the little one. She's not going to give a pass either. And she's not going to let you pass and say, Mommy, you going to pay attention. I'm trying to get your attention. So let me ask you this, Emunah. Let's bring you back on. And you know, I know I'm going to ask this question because I asked it in the green room, but I'm doing it because we're live and we want to just kind of have it on air. Under what conditions, if any? Because I know you're married to a melinated brother, a beautiful brother. But under what conditions, if something was to change or whatever, you know, you were to die to come back again or something, what would you do? Would you ever be with a European or a non-melanated man?
Brother Philippe, I'll understand that. For me personally, I would have to say no, and here is why. When nations take their daughters and give to the sons of other nations, when you grow up in a place, especially as the woman, you are the first teacher of that child. You have the principles, you have the culture, you're inculcated with all this information. Kings, princes, priests, everyone sits on the knee of a woman. When a nation takes their daughters and exports them to a foreign nation, what you have done is you have exported your most valuable resource. Looking to rebuild who we are and reinstill, why would I now try to integrate into a space? Because something about the West that is kind of wild for me is the thought that individuals marry. Individuals don't marry, families do. So you're in actuality, and it's not a hatred for anyone, it's a love for yourself. You are merging families, you know, and it's very important to know who are you getting involved with. So much of your own, how much so much someone else. You understand what I'm saying? And I was telling you that I saw it was on Yahoo like 2 weeks ago, where the black enslaved met his white cousin.
Yes, yes, I remember that. Yes.
As this beautiful reunion, but in the reality, they became family because one of his great-great-grandmothers were raped, or was again humbled by their master, or raped by their master and forced to bear the child. All of this stuff we cannot forget, because it's in the blood, it's in the system, it's in the soul. Now, yes, there's been many people who've been mixed up. That's understandable, but you don't keep doing it just because it's been done. This is what people try to justify. Oh, it's been done, so I might as well keep doing it. That's like saying somebody, I might as well keep throwing trash. We have to kind of step back a little bit and try to take a look at what has happened, because a lot of children who are products of the quote black and white dynamic, or the European and the quote African dynamic, the children are lost. They don't know which way to go. Should I be this, or should I be that? So you create this new quote mulatto stream who doesn't feel comfortable in any direction. And we have to think about that as it relates to the life of the child, not just how we feel at the moment.
They won't be accepted. They won't be accepted by white society as white, right. And they won't be accepted by a black society as being all the way black.
Right. And this is the same thing we saw with Jesse Williams.
I was just getting ready to bring up Jesse Williams. What about people like Jesse Williams versus Morris Chestnut in terms of light skin privilege? What does he have the right to have a black issue because he's going to be viewed as black? You know, I guess at what point, because you are who you are, what's the dynamic there?
This is what I'm saying. This is why we need to take a step back, because the reality is like we're entering in the ninth inning, you know, and just to throw stones at any individual where, like, he didn't, like I would say in Caribbean, he didn't born himself, he didn't birth himself, he didn't choose to say, hey, guess what, I want to be with you. This is what he stepped into in his earth suit. So just to attack an individual, we weren't born, we didn't select to be whatever color we are. Our parents came together and they made us. And the reality is, when we relate to one another, it's the same way the oppressor related to one another, because that was a tool of division. We have to acknowledge that is what they use. This is a light-skinned person, this is a mid-colored person, this is a copper-colored person, and they use it as reasons as why not to come together. And across the continent, when you look at the continent, everyone is not the same melanated, that doesn't have the same level of melanation. You understand? So this differentiation, we need to really take a look at that and take off, let's say, the master's eyes for a second, and step back from the conversation, and then be able to come to it with, okay, what did I choose and what did I not choose? If you can understand what I'm saying. The Jesse Williams situation, if he experienced what he experienced, then that's what he experienced. I can't take that away from him. If he's identifying with that, I can't take it away from him. And the reality is, yes, society is going to say darker, yeah, you're going to get treated away, but the reality is everyone gets treated away from the minute you get manolin. That's it. You're going to get whatever treatment that they're going to dish out.
Rashida, what do you think about that? And what are your thoughts on between a Jesse Williams versus a Morris Chestnut in terms of talking about black issues and the authenticity therein?
Jesse Williams has no right to speak on black issues as far as I'm concerned. I don't want to hear it from Jesse Williams. He is a benefactor of light skin privilege. It is the darker skinned people of the world that's dark like me and more blacker that have suffered the brunt of being black, yet the light skinned mulatto people are always the spokesperson. Case in point, Barack Obama, he ain't black. I don't care what anybody says. He's a mixed race man. He ain't the first black president. Nope. He's just as much white as he is black.
There's been a lot of argument about that, because one of the reasons they were saying
the white baby daddy rule. No.
One of the things they were saying about Barack Obama is that one of the reasons why he was probably accepted in politics at that level is because he's not the black side of him is not from a descendant of slaves. It's from Africa, so that's a little different. So
he shouldn't have been accepted at all. He shouldn't have been accepted. He is the first.
So wait a minute,
president.
Rashida. So then what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to just get rid of all of the biracial people and just
That's
burn
not
them
my
all up
issue.
or something? What are we
I
going to do
didn't
with
say
them?
that. That's not my issue. I didn't say anything about being inhumane to them. I'm just saying they're not my spokesperson. Halle
Wow.
Berry can't speak for me. Alicia Keys can't speak for me. Beyonce can't speak for me. In my humble opinion, which y'all might not think is too humble, but in my humble opinion, it is the dark-skinned people, and now Africa does have 1 billion+ people on the planet. The majority are dark-skinned, and they look like me. So that's what should be the representative. Jesse Williams has not said nothing that a black, dark-skinned man or woman has not said. The problem is people of his color are always getting the credit. So I'm saying, no.
So he gets the spotlight because of the light skin privilege.
Fascinating
argument. Okay.
No brainer.
Okay. This is good because one could say, and I probably fell into this as well, that black is black, and so regardless of how much melanin you have in your skin, you're still going to be treated as such. However, I do respect the fact that we don't really have any dark-skinned people at that level that get that level of press and respect. Why do you think that is?
You're asking me the question?
Either one of you.
Darkism. It's what I call darkism, which is simply the discrimination of dark-skinned people in every sphere of, and I'm borrowing from Dr. Frances Cress Welsing and Neely Fuller, people activity. There you have it. It's a special form of ism, darkism. Simple.
Love that. Emunah, you want to come in on this?
Yeah, it's for me, when we talk about mainstream press, we're talking about who owns mainstream press, which will be the same Europeans that we're talking about. So in their world, we're talking about different worlds, and we're talking about our desire to be accepted in someone else's world, and then be put, because it's their world, they created that world. You understand what I'm saying? And so, and my issue is, hey, you go to somebody's house, they say take off the shoes, you take off the shoes. But the reality is there was a space and time in this country and throughout the Caribbean that people say, hey, my issue is when we no longer we now comply with their standards. When now amongst your own self, you're saying dark is better, light is worse. When we're doing it to ourselves, because it could be expected that the system of racism, white supremacy is the one who has done this to us. But when we pick up the mantle and when we begin to talk about it and be about it and move with each other in that same way, now it has infected our system, if you can understand what I'm saying. Because it's not like, hey, this is the world press. No, this is their press. They have their actors, their cartoon characters, their images. Do you understand what I'm saying? Their narrative. But when you tell the narrative, I tell the narrative, sister tells the narrative, are we telling the narrative to their eyes? Because if we are, then therein lies the problem. Because if you look at, here's what I'm saying, historical record, if you come to me, I'm going to have a different record. Sometimes from somebody else who may have been the person who you defeated. Do you understand what I'm saying? And everybody has a right to tell their story. But the reality is the only reason that we really care so much about how they're telling the story is because we still perceive them to have the power to do so and the power to define. And this is why I say, for me, and what I do as it relates to Soulonomics, I put more the onus on the individuals. What choices are we continuing to make? Because without us validating what it is that they're doing, meaning patronizing their movies, patronizing the news, patronizing the things that they're doing, we're giving you the power. We're the ones who making Nielsen's ratings go up. We're the ones who's making, you understand what I'm saying? But yes, Brother Philippe comes on or someone else comes on, oh, you have low numbers. Where's the power? The power's in the hands of the people. So how do we view dark skin? How do we view all of those things at this point in time? Because you can't really force anybody else to change what they're saying when you are or we are guilty of the very same things.
So I remember you and I, Emunah, having this conversation, and Rashida, I'm going to bring you in on this, and that is a lot of people talk about, well, you know, you love who you love. And I shared with you in one of our green rooms, Emunah, I had a choice before I moved to California, because I'm from Chicago. I had a choice between literally there was a white girl that was interested in me, and there was a sister that was interested in me, and I remember having this conversation with Dr. Joy DeGruy in the green room. I got to start recording the damn green rooms, because we have more conversations in the damn green rooms off air than we do on air. But anyway, I'm telling all my business and everybody's business on this show. And I told her, I said, Doc, I'll be 51 this year. I said, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I thought about it. I looked at it. I've never been with a white woman. I've only kissed one once, and I just can't do it. And I told her that in my mind, I'm looking at the long-term relationship and saying, there are conversations that are so deep to me and so visceral and guttural for me that I can never have with her. Because regardless of whatever it is that I say, they would never understand it because they've never lived it, because they're on the other side of it. And it's just, I can't fathom it. Now, that's me. That being said, what do you say to those? I'll give this to Rashida. For those who say, hey, you know what? It just happened. You love who you love, but I'm still down for the cause. What do you say to those people?
Preference is a social construct. It's been socially engineered through racism and white supremacy for black men to diss their own women in favor of, non-black women. That's the whole reason for the Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign. It's rooted in slavery. I mean, and I would also say to these people to really consider, because I don't think a lot of these movies that we've seen, these slave narratives and movies, I don't really think that these movies have really done the actual institution of slavery justice in terms of the brutal rapes, including the females were raped, the children were raped, the men were, these people are, they perverted. They're just evil.
They're barbaric. Yeah, they're barbaric.
So how could you?
Yeah. Not to interrupt you, but I want to not to interrupt you, but on that to support what you're saying. The movie, the latest documentary of Hidden Colors 4. At the end of the documentary, they show where the term motherfucker comes from. The term motherfucker comes from the slave owners taking the male and forcing that male to breed with his mother so they can have an offspring so they can sell that child. That's where the term motherfucker comes from. So this is the psychology of, and again, as I just said, I could not foresee having this conversation with someone that is non-melinated, that is white or European, having this level of knowledge, and having a conversation and looking at their quote-unquote beautiful blue eyes. It just, I just can't do it. I'm sorry. Hey, it is what it is. Go ahead, Rashida, I interrupted you, but I just wanted to give you that.
History has proven time and again, this is very simple. Europeans are the most violent people on the face of the planet. They have gone all over the world and inflicted violence on other people for resources, for the control of the ground, to extract the resources, to create wealth. And they've done it at whatever cost. They don't care. So why would you want to be with a person that has inflicted that level of violence on the planet? You got to examine yourself.
Here's the argument. So here's another argument, Rashida, because this is fascinating to me. I love this. Here's the argument. Well, that was for those people. My ancestors did that. I did not do that. I love black people. I love all people. I'm not racist, and so why should I be held to a historical reference and standard in my modern day time?
Well, they're still doing it. I mean, this country is still going around the world sending people to kill people, murder people. That's what they're doing. And also, you got to look at the fact that these people are benefactors of wealth. while black people are still at the bottom worldwide. So they're going to give me, I would ask them, you going to give me all your money? You going to give me your wealth? You going to do that? We be even Steven, we can do that. And some other stuff I want to say, but I got to be careful. I ain't going to say that right now. I mean, can we be even Steven? It's real simple for me. Let's even the score.
Sure. So, all right, Emunah, did you want to come in on that last part?
You know what? I'm gonna say some controversial stuff. I know it has been.
Like this isn't controversial enough? Okay, go ahead.
Add a little bit more controversial icing on the thing. I've been chilling out crocheting lately and watching a lot of documentaries. Like I said, I like to go to first-hand accounts. I like to watch a lot of documentaries. And within this, I believe they were in like Zambia. It was like finding the lost civilization, something like that. But basically, he's speaking to all black archaeologists, all melanated people as it relates to the culture and what was happening as it relates to slavery and the narrative and how it is not just the European who's responsible. You understand? It's also those who are on the mainland continent as well as the Arabs. And the man was speaking a lot about the sub-Saharan slave trade as it relates to not going west but going east. And the actual castration of men so that they could not reproduce, and the millions and millions of people that went in. I say that to say that as you're watching this, like Sister Rashida just said, as you're watching it as it relates to wanting to extract the wealth, and it's not just a color, it's a human condition of wanting to try to expand. I watched this, and I was going to tell you, Brother Philippe, because I got to watch it again. When the Ashanti archaeologist, historian, was asked, was this, moral what you were doing as it relates to conquering kingdoms, capturing the people and selling them? He said, morality? We wasn't really thinking about no morality. This was a black man, like me and you. And it hit me because I heard him say it again, but this is the second time someone else saying it on another show, totally different, not Henry Louis Gates. So the conversation is not just about, yes, what the European has done, it's what humanity has done to humanity, melanated or otherwise. And I know for us who are still hurting in that space of black and white, I promise you it goes beyond that. Because the greed and the lust and the covetousness for the resources to expand, anything will be used against you. In our case, it just happens to be color. In other spaces, it's gender. In other spaces, you understand what I'm saying to you? So when you look at slavery through the lens of where it actually started and what was happening on the continent, and the man was black like you. And he didn't see you as his brother. He saw you as a commodity to be sold and bartered for money. And when you broaden the lens like that, yes, the anger for what happened here, but that broader lens makes me a little bit more, you understand what I'm saying? Like, all right, I see you, but I do know that it's more. And it doesn't matter what it is, it's going to be used as a tool to oppress and suppress the people of the earth. So,
we just, one of the greatest of all times, Muhammad Ali, just became an ancestor recently. And I remember, I'm old enough to remember when he was on like one of those shows, I want to say Dick Cavett show. I'm really aging the hell out of myself right now. When he was on a Dick Cavett show, and he was, this was a very controversial topic at the time, where he was talking about he believes in segregation. He believes in the races should not mix, which I thought was fascinating for him to talk about. This was in the 70s, and for him to say, yeah, I don't think black men should be with white women, and vice versa, and I don't think white men should be with blah blah. And this was Muhammad Ali in the 70s. Here we are, 2016. The races have blended, but if you look at the stats, one of the reasons why we are, especially black men in America, are being targeted is because America is browning at a rapid rate, meaning that the population, I believe Mother Earth is just healing herself and restoring balance, because there are more brown people and black people than white people, or any other race of people on the planet. And it just seems like, because we're here in America, it seems like everything is white, but it really isn't. Everything is black and always has been, and always will be, because that's nature. And God wanted it that way. That all being said, Rashida, come on in with this, and that is, do you believe that there should be a blending of or mixing of the races, or that we should uh, uh, segregate and stay with our own and build and procreate with our own?
First, I just want to say, I want to ask the question to you both. What group of people in history has created the most destruction throughout the world, has gone to different continents around the world and killed and murdered people, from India to Asia to the Americas? What other group of people other than people of European descent has gone around the world and caused destruction to that same level? That's
history has shown that when Africa and Africans ruled the world, there were no wars. Yeah, there was conflict. It's like, I ain't gonna like you every damn day. You know what I'm saying? Ain't gonna be kumbaya love fest. But there was no conquering of other worlds and people, humans, being reduced to human commodity. It was not until the Euroasian showed up from the caves, from the Ice Age, that the world saw carnage that to some people still is unfathomable. So go ahead, Rashida.
I think that black people need to stay with black people. Particularly, I think that the black man needs to come back to the dark-skinned black woman in balanced numbers. The reason why I say balanced numbers is because I know that not all black men are going to date exclusively dark-skinned women, but there needs to be a reckoning. So when you ask the question about should we be mixing up, no, never. I mean, if it was up to me, no, we'd all go back to Africa and rebuild and live our lives and do what Marcus Garvey did. He's probably the person that I can say I respect the most in history, because he actually tried to give Africans a chance, Africans from all over the world a chance to, let's go back and rebuild. And I think that we as black people, we haven't really looked at that as a solution. We're still stuck over here with the white folks wanting to be under them and wanting to continue to be under subjugation, instead of saying, okay, let's create a new paradigm. Or let's extend the paradigm that Marcus Garvey already laid out for you. Let's try that. So to answer your question, and I hope I'm answering it, I think that black people need to stay with black people. I do not believe in race mixing. Now, do I love everybody? Of course. But I have a special, listen, you got to love yourself first. I love me. I love my dark-skinned reflection. I love my hair, and I want it to continue to live on. And if we keep on mixing up with people and, exhibiting self-hate, you're not going to have a dark-skinned woman that looks like, in fact, I need to be blacker. I wish I was darker. I'm not dark enough. I mean,
let's look at that, Emunah. We now, Rashida, and I get what she's saying. She wants let's to go back, the Back to Africa movement. If you remember that one back in the day, right? Realistic or not, is it realistic to look at that and practice that consciousness of procreation here in the U.S.? Would that change generationally and evolutionary over time? Would that change the dynamics of this white supremacist society that was founded on white supremacy and terrorism? Emunah Y'srael, bring this out for me.
My thought just flew out. If you are in the same environment that created the conflict, it's going to be very, very hard to try to use a certain standard that wouldn't be problematic and then to impose it in the same space, meaning in the Western Hemisphere where you were enslaved. If you can understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
To try to, in my estimation anyway, to try to, let me just do this. I like analogy. If a bird saw that, or a peacock saw that his plume was what made him endangered, made him a threat, would he want that plume in that area where he's being hunted? So in the space, psychologically, there's something going on with our people that this complexion makes you a threat. It makes you endangered. And so many people in their mind try to distance themselves away from or cushion themselves by saying, hey, if I have the protection of this European, if I have the protection of this mate, maybe they will not see me as a threat. Maybe I can go into places where otherwise I will be barred. So in people's mind, because remember, from the time we've come here up until this point, in my estimation, we're still in survival mode. Still in survival mode, and the people are asking themselves the question, how do I survive in this hostile environment? I'm not saying, I'm at the point of my study, I haven't, you know, some things are emphatically wrong, right? I'm at the point in trying to understand the psyche. Yes, we can tell somebody, hey, don't do that, but if we don't understand, how are we really communicating with it? Because apparently if they're doing it, they are to a degree not really understanding why they're doing it. But subconsciously, a lot of people are trying to survive. Because they've seen, hey, if you go this way, it will be problematic. Okay, I don't want my life to be that way. I'm still here. Maybe I should go this way. I'm not saying it's right, but why are they doing what they're doing? Can we can say, hey, you're wrong, like I said before, but how is that opening the greater conversation to that the pride that is supposed to come back from actually being with people? And because we have to remember, being with people and marrying people, so you're supposed to have fruit that comes out of there. And make sure that you have good fruit. You understand? Because good fruit is bring good fruit. But if you do it under the premise like this is my obligation only, or this is my duty, and the person deep down inside, then how is that going to reflect on the children? How is that going to reflect on the house that they build? And so because I always like talking about healing, for me, we have to heal the damage. We have to heal the trauma. We have to heal the injury before we can really go forward. So we wouldn't even be having this question, why would the Rasta be with the European? Apparently his injury is not healed. And he might not even really be aware. So he has head knowledge, but as it relates to the soul, there's still a disconnect.
Wow.
And so, you know, that's when you told me that's what I got. There has to be a disconnect. And again, he's in a level of, I know all of this, but the reality is I still get no play. You say, we have a lot of knowledge. But what is that going to do when in the reality it does not translate into power for you? You still get no play. Do you understand what I'm saying? Not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying, just in my observation, is what it is at this point in time. And we have to try to make that soul connection and heal that injury.
This is why I love you so much, Emunah, because even though I want to cuss, you just can't, I can't do it because you just come with such good knowledge and wisdom. You just balance me out with such truth that I can't even cuss about it no more, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to ask, I wanted to come on this show and act a damn fool. I couldn't do it because I got Rashida and I got Emunah keeping me real, keeping me honest here. So let me ask you this, and I assume Rashida is on daughter duty right now. So she,
I understand it, Sister Rashida. Apology. I know. I understand it.
I understand what she's doing. Okay. So, so what should those like Jesse Williams and so, what should the biracial children do? What should the biracial adults do? How do they fit in? Because I mean, you know, how do we, as descendants of slaves who are mixed, who are trying to maintain and reconstruct, if you will, deconstruct and reconstruct our blackness, how do we not become, to the biracial children and adults, the very same thing
exactly
that the Europeans are to all of us? How do we find that balance? Because that is, I think, one of the fears, is that how do you not become your oppressor?
Yeah, the oppressed now becomes the oppressor. And like you said, how do you not become that? In my estimation, you are aware. You are aware that, like I said, more than a color issue, it's a power issue. I have the power to say you are beautiful. I have the power to say you are not. I have the power to say you get wealth. I have the power. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so when you look at someone who has been created in this space, to negate them or to invalidate them, like you're saying, Brother Fleet, is the same thing the oppressor did, and they didn't choose it. Just like you didn't choose to and you didn't choose to say, hey, whatever the case may be, you're born and this is who you are. You're female, you're male, whatever the case may be. So for me, on my soul journey, I don't seek to become that oppressor. You understand? Because they are already dealing with enough of their own confusion, in the sense that part of them feels, quote, black and part of them feels white. You understand? They're going to have who they identify with. It's just like children. Some may identify with the mother, some may identify with the father.
Rashida, come on in on this.
Wait a minute now.
Hold on. What do you think about biracial children and adults? What are their positions placed? Where should they be? Because they're displaced by default of being born biracial, they're in an identity crisis 24/7. Okay.
Why are we so concerned with defending those people that have been on top economically and socially since slavery? I don't even think that should be an issue that's on the table, because dark-skinned people are so far down the totem pole in terms of even talking about oppressing someone else. That issue shouldn't be on the table as far as in fact, I think it's an insult. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all, because here are the facts. The fact of the matter is, if you look back at slavery, light-skinned people, mulatto people, whatever you want to call them, after white people, they were the biggest oppressors of black people in this country, evidenced by things like there's an author that wrote a book. He told on them. He told on this on these elitist black people with light skin. I wish I could think of his name right now, but they have
there's a document that's been well documented about the brown paper bag theory in the churches. If you're lighter than the brown paper bag, you can go into church and come in. If you're darker, then you can't go in. So Spike Lee did a movie years ago called School Days that talked about light-skinned blacks versus dark-skinned blacks in college. But so let me ask you this, Rashida: do we continue this fight? Because we're already fighting. We're already kicking ass, and we it's like, well, damn, do I now have to fight with someone who is biracial? That is probably, even though they have light skin privilege, they're gonna, and maybe you disagree with this, they're gonna be treated as black at some level anyway, or maybe you're saying no, they're not. What fight who the hell should I whoop ass on, Rashida? That's all I need to ask.
They're not. It's not even about me personally fighting someone, and they're not on. A lot of people have tried to put them on my agenda in terms of dark skin equality. They're off the table for me right now. Why? Because like I said, I feel that dark-skinned people, if you look around the world at the people of the world that are in poverty, it is the dark-skinned people. It's not biracial people. These people can capitalize off of their skin tone. We know this to be true. Just look at Hollywood. Look at educational opportunities. Look at light-skinned women. It's been proven by different scholars. Dr. Margaret Hunter is one of them, among many, that light-skinned women, they have social capital, which means they can marry the best and brightest of black men. I mean, why do I need to put them on my agenda? That's an insult to me as a dark-skinned woman when I've been suffering my whole damn life.
That's powerful. This is why I have you on the show, because it makes sense, and I feel for what you are saying and what you have.
Halle Berry isn't suffering.
Halle Berry, what?
She ain't suffering.
No, she's not.
Jesse Williams is not suffering.
No.
He don't need no help.
Okay.
I'm sure he don't need no money.
Well, there, right. So let's talk about then the difference between a Viola Davis versus who would be in her space at that age. Give me somebody, people.
Halle Berry.
Well, that's an age differential because they're not close in age.
I think they actually are.
Okay, well, maybe they are. Okay, fine. Viola Davis versus a Halle Berry. So now let's look at this. Remember Halle Berry. Now this is interesting to look at, and Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington won his first Oscar for saying the word nigger. I think it was 200 some odd times, the most ever in any film history. that's what he won the Oscar for, which was Training Day. Halle Berry, interestingly enough, won her Oscar by being, I guess having rough sex with a racist white man on camera, and won an Oscar for it. And let's just go there, ladies and gentlemen, because this is Philippe Matthews' show after hours, so we're just going to talk about it and bring it up. A lot of people don't like to talk about this. But look at the body of work that she's done, look at the body of work that Denzel Washington has done, and look at what they win an Oscar for.
Correct.
This is something that this is the reason why we're having this conversation about sleeping with the enemy in terms of interracial relationships, because this is the narrative of Hollywood. This is who owns the Oscar and who is going to give it to you, and this is what you have to do to be a part of that community. Give me your understanding, Emunah, of what Rashida is talking about, that I can't give biracial people a pass, and because in terms of dark-skinned issues and historics, this is just something I can't do. What is your position on that?
I mean, I think you just made, and I definitely understand. We're all coming from different perspectives, and I respect our sister Rashida's perspective concerning this conversation, because she's coming from one perspective, I'm coming from another perspective, and you the same. But you just made a very important point that Halle Berry, Taraji P. Henson, I put her in there, Denzel Washington, they all win roles for one thing: playing the stereotype the way I tell you to play it. White, whether or not you dark, light, or in the middle. The only time I give you credence is when you play the way I tell you to play. And all of these stereotypes are what they got awarded for. Again, Halle Berry, she's not, quote, dark-skinned, but she still had to debase herself in the same way. People are in, and I'm not giving them a pass, because Marcus Garvey had this issue as well when he came to Jamaica. I mean, coming from Jamaica, and saw all the Europeans or light-skinned or lighter-skinned people into the NAACP and the mentality. I have a different perspective. My people are from the Caribbean. My mother is dark. She's standing over here. She's as dark as the sister Rashida, who's right here. I didn't grow up with colorism on my mind. So I'm coming from a totally different perspective, if you can understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica has colorism in a nation full of black people. We think that it's America where it's the proportion to black and white. But let me tell you something. Throughout the Caribbean, this colorism, even amongst yourself, still exists. And that's where I am, because, like I said, I wasn't grown to say, oh, this one red and this one dark, or this one. But there are people in my culture that's how they grow their children. If you're a lighter, you get more school fee. If you're lighter, you get to go to a white person is not doing that. Their own family is doing it.
Well, let me push back on you just a bit, Emunah, because if we look at Francis Cress Welsing's work in color theory, and look at this brilliant psychiatrist back in the 70s,
right?
We do have to look at this genetic factor and genetic fear because now, yeah, I understand what we're talking about America. Yeah, we can talk about America and racism and slavery and all of that. But the Euroasian, the white people, the people who came from the caves have, and I think the term is reaction. I'm trying, if I can remember, reaction formation. And this is Francis Cress Welsing, ladies and gentlemen. Reaction formation is envying something that you could never have and never be. In the case of white people, they can never be melinated. They could never be black. They could never have that, and they could never produce a black child. And so, as a result, they minimize it, degrade it, and turn it into a thing of pure hatred and ugliness. This is what Rashida is talking about, and I think this is the dominant psychology of the Euroasian that has permeated history since they have shown up. Now, I don't know if there was colorism prior to them showing up in Africa. When Africa ruled the world, I don't know if there was light skin and dark-skinned families and babies and whatever.
It's
But
tribalism. It's
or
the same thing.
tribalism. Okay, great.
It's
So
the same thing to a degree. It's discrimination based on whatever I say.
okay.
It's tribalism. It's based on, hey, if you live up the road and I
So
don't
is
like.
there a difference between discrimination and racism, or is it one and the same and they can't be
They're
mutually exclusive?
interconnected. In my estimation, they are interconnected. The only reason we are really actually care is because they have taken over and usurped the resources. If they did not have control of wealth, we wouldn't give a rat's behind if they say dark was ugly and light. We wouldn't care. But because they control the narrative and they control the wealth, this is why we actually care. This is why for us it's important right now. You understand what I'm saying? So the question is, do I need you to tell me that I'm beautiful, or do I just need you to give me an opportunity to get what you have? What are we really talking about here? What is really the concern?
This is interesting because I had mentioned this on a previous show. The difference I was just talking to him on the phone earlier today. Reverend Dr. Durley, Gerald Durley, who marched with King. He was talking about in his book the difference between equality and parity. Equality is trying to be equal to something. Parity is trying to have the ability to have the ability to do it, the potential. Can I have the opportunity to create my own narrative? And I think that's what you're talking about, is that we're looking for the opportunity, and the opportunity is not there because we don't own that narrative. We don't own our own blackness, if you will.
You don't own your right. It's like in the music business. You don't own your masters. You don't own your rights, and you're upset that someone else is getting paid all the money and you getting a little something. So this is, I like to get down to the meat of the problem, because sometimes we mix each other in translation because we're talking about 2 different things or 3 different things or however many different things. Like, what are we speaking about as it relates to this topic specifically? Like the kernel, the center. What is it really about in our estimation? Do they have the power to define us? Do they not have the power to define us? What do we want? What do we not want? Do you understand what I'm saying? So that we're not talking circularly, we could say, okay, now we can pinpoint, this is the issue and here is why.
So Rashida, let me bring you in on this. What is your thought on that, on this particular part that Emunah is just brought up?
Well, color is power. It goes back to what you were saying about Dr. Francis Cress Welsing in the ISIS papers. It's the whole entire reason why we have racism and white supremacy is because white people cannot produce color, and the people of color are in the majority. So that's why Africa, for example, is the most, I would argue, the most economically disadvantaged place on earth in terms of infrastructure and all that kind of stuff. It's not to the same level as this, which is why we bring back in Marcus Garvey. He understood these things clearly. So that's why he was a capitalist. So that's why he was trying to elevate black people to that level. So for me, color is power, because the whitest people got all the money, the darkest people have nothing. So let's switch it. Simple.
And like I have one thing to say. I love this conversation. It's good. Like I said, I've been like, taking a break from reading my eyes and listening to a lot of narratives and conversation. Who gave the power away? We have to come from me. And healing.
Well, now I don't know. Did we give it away? Taken with guns?
No, they took it with guns. They took it.
I'm like, wait a minute, because you actually.
Wait a minute, no, wait, brother, please.
Just the way you just kind of made it was like, wait a minute. We just sit passively in the house. No, I know what you're saying. Go ahead, Emunah.
Before the taking away with guns, okay, there was a desire. This is why I boil it back down to human desire for power. There was a desire in trading. Before you just jumped on the scene, was like, hey, let me give you some guns. You was already having conversations with these dudes. You were already trading with them. You had a relationship with them. When the dude said he was going for India, ended up on the backside of Africa, he stopped at a trading post and picked up those 2 black men. Who gave him to you? Did you just say, hey, I'm taking it? Slavery didn't just happen. It was already happening. We have to be honest about that. So to a certain degree, melanated people, for the desire for power and acquisition of more wealth, sold their brothers and sisters. People don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. So we can back up the story just a little bit and be honest. This is why we will see our brother in the streets right now. He say, I'm trying to survive, and will sell to his own. Why? Because at that base level, you want more, or you want to be able to survive. Yes, the European did a whole lot of stuff. I'm not giving anybody a pass, but the truth of the matter is that when it was black on black, it's happened way before the streets and the ghettos of New York and the Caribbean and South America. This black on black conversation has been happening ever since the continent. That is hard body facts. Truth.
This is a powerful argument, and it's hard. Hey, I can't argue with that.
True.
I can't argue with that. That's true.
Invaded
so now what we're talking about. So now let's look at that. So, and I don't know if we are playing into the fault or justification of chattel slavery and the worst form of slavery in the history of humanity. Because slavery has been around for long before America was founded, but chattel slavery was a whole nother thing.
Right.
So you're saying, Emunah, and this is a conversation that I think a lot of people have a difficult time having, and that is human greed.
Yes.
Human greed.
Vicious greed and desire to expand wealth.
For resources.
Yes.
Not even for necessarily survival, because if we look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, everybody was surviving, everybody was doing well. It was the ones who said, I want even more than that. And then said, okay, I am willing to harm my own family,
yes,
and harm my own people,
yes,
so that I can have more power.
Correct.
For whatever purpose.
Correct.
And this is something that, although we know the Euroasian was, what are you sending me, Rashida? Oh, you got to go in a few minutes. Okay, she's sending me a text on Facebook. Thank God I get that. I didn't even know I just got this new computer. I didn't even know I got. I'm like, what the hell is this popping up? Okay, this is great. So there's a part of our soul then that we need to heal and responsible for this as well. Is that what you're saying, Emunah?
This is what I'm saying, because universal law says what? If we look at universal law, we had to, at somewhere along this line, have sown some degree of what is being received. Because, again, what goes up must come down. What goes around comes around. There's some degree of onus and responsibility, and I saw that. You see it when you have conversations with people from the continent, that there was some complicitness there. Mm-hmm. For this acquisition and expansion, and they were willing to sell people who were melanated just like them. That means that this melanated conversation comes in when it's a divisive tool for the European. But before this, you lived on the wrong side of the mountain, you lived on the wrong side of the river, and you worshiping a different deity. And so therefore, I have the right now to come and subdue you. This has been going on way before the European jumped on the scene and started bodying up everybody and putting them in ships.
All right, Rashida, I know you got to go, so I'm going to give you, I guess maybe the last word. I don't know. I'm trying to act like I'm on CNN or something. I don't know what the hell that means. But anyway, I'll give Rashida the last word. No, I'm not. But anyway, go ahead, Rashida. Give me your thoughts, because I know you got to run. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, my question that I would still ask is I would go back to the same thing that I asked before. What group of people is the most destructive group of people to humanity on the face of the planet?
Is that currently or past? Because what Emunah is talking about is that before even the Euroasian showed up.
Listen, I'm speaking historically and right now.
Okay.
When we ask that question, truthfully and honestly, we're going to still come back to Europeans. So I'm not letting them off the hook.
I mean, that's understandable. They took it to another level. There's no question. Hands down, took it to another level. You got that. You know, you took it to another level, like, ridiculously. Decimated the whole earth with pollution, with everything you could possibly, carnage, murder. But the reality is, with that statement, our people, melanated people, also took things to another level. That opened up, that opened up this spiritual deficit, so to say, that allowed them to creep in. Like, they could not have crept in the way in which they did if the people were not already operating on a lower vibration. It's like me coming, hey, brother Philippe, you know, you want some, and I offer you some crazy drug. Brother Philippe,
that's the case for all the other people that they've conquered. The Indians, all the other people that they've gone to their countries and destroyed. So that's what I'm saying. We got to be careful
here,
when we're saying stuff like that.
this.
Can't let them off the hook. These people are destructive, and they've done it to everybody, not just black people. Whereas the reverse, black people haven't gone all over the world and did this to other groups of people in the way that Europeans have done it.
So let's do this.
On the same level there.
Let's do this, Rashida and Emunah. Then let me ask you this collectively, and that is, so we know where we are right now, and we know what we do have we do have historical understanding of where we came from. We understand where we're at right now. So in order to get to where we want to go, so is it our mandate at this point to propagate with our own, create beautiful melanated babies, educate our melanated babies personally, and create and recreate our village, because in the village there's the power. Your power in Africa was the family. And is that what we need to do?
We can't do any of that until the dark-skinned woman is back on top again. Or
how does a dark-skinned woman get back on top again?
With things, propaganda. There's a book, you guys might have heard of him. I like his work, Noam Chomsky. He talks about propaganda, how the media, they don't control people in this country with brute force. They control you with this, with the television. They propagandize everything. That's why you have all these self-hating black men. That's why you were in a situation, I have to be honest here, I'm just giving you my take on your issue with the white woman. That's why you even considered dating this woman. Because of the propaganda.
I just kissed her and I said I can't do it. No, let's be very clear.
Let's take you off the table.
Let's be very clear. It was just a kiss. Now, maybe I'm guilty as charged, but wait a minute.
But you kissed her.
Yeah, I did kiss her. Damn it, I sure the hell did.
Horrible.
I ain't gonna lie. She had on this red lipstick. It was very tasty. It was like a pineapple flavor. I'm sorry, it was. All right. So yes.
I mean, I forgive you for that, but I'm just saying.
Rashida ain't letting nothing go. I mean, there is no. That was a tight ass filter. That's all I'm saying.
I can't. I'm.
Rashida ain't playing with nobody. My goodness. I can't tell you nothing. I can't share nothing with you.
Yes, with me, but I'm just critiquing it based upon what I believe. We don't have time to play. That's the problem. We've been playing too long. We've been shucking and jiving too long instead of creating propaganda. You have to, going back to
well, that's what we're doing this show. I mean, it's a show that needs to be done. It's a conversation that needs to be done. It's a hard conversation to have. And I'm not afraid to have it. We need to do this again more often, and it's why we do what we do.
Glad you ended up with the black woman.
Thank you, Rashida. Lord, she don't play. Thank you. Yes, I am too. Well, guess what? We wouldn't even be doing this damn show if I ended up with a non-melanated woman. I wouldn't be the conscious brother that I am. I wouldn't be doing a Philippe Matthews. I wouldn't be doing any of this. And trying to bring this out, trying to heal, and trying to move forward. So I agree. So here's what I believe, and you guys, I'm sorry, ladies, tell me if I'm on the right track. Lay with your own, propagate with your own, teach your own your own media, and put out your own propaganda or not even propaganda. Put out your own media so that you can control your own narrative. How am I doing?
Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
All
right. Oh, come on, Emunah. Now, don't hurt me. Now, we just got a thumbs up. I'm trying to get. Lord help me, because Rashida, that was. You don't know how much that thumbs up means to me from Rashida. Let me tell you right now, because Rashida don't play.
Man, I love black men. Y'all my kryptonite. Come on.
All right.
I mean, again, just coming from where I'm coming from, we have to know amongst our own, like, again, the continent is full with people that look alike, and they're not necessarily the same people. You understand what I'm saying? And so we have to go even deeper than saying, oh, you black, you'll do. You know what I'm saying? To even to further than that, to begin to heal ourselves, that when we do come together, these families that we're building, they're sustainable. This community that we're building is sustainable. Not just people who have the head knowledge, but people who are actually doing the movements, the actions to bring this thing back around. If like you said, educating your own, but not in a way to just now you way that again you heal the collective. And so I think it goes a little bit further than those who look like you. It has to be those who are on the same vibration, so that you're not pulling anyone along. You're not forcing anyone to do anything. It's within their desire to have that higher reach. And that's what happens. We sometimes stop at head knowledge, and then we judge people based on, man, why are you not doing nothing? But they never showed us that they were doing anything. They just showed us that they knew a lot.
Okay.
You know? And the action is in the doing. So I would just add that to what you just said, Melissa.
All right. Well, you know, there's a 6-second delay in the green room. I'm getting ready to sign off, so let me just do that because Rashida's got to go. She just sent me a text saying, "Awesome show." So I guess I did my job because I know Rashida, when you know, she don't play.
Oh
so
my God.
if I did good with Rashida, I probably have done something. Because
Oh my God.
I'm like, whew. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna have me a black cigar and a black drink after this damn show. I'm just letting you know right now.
And I don't hate nobody. Now I don't hate no light skinned person. I love everybody. I want equality. We don't have equality, and that's my problem.
Okay, that's a good point. So we're gonna continue this show. We're gonna continue this conversation. I think this would just be part 1 of this level of conversation. I think we need to have this. This is really good. This was extremely powerful. I learned something. I didn't even know that I wasn't supposed to kiss the chick. I didn't, I learned something about my damn self. But I can't take it back. But it is what it is. All right. Thanks everybody. We'll see you guys. Stick around with me, ladies, at the green room as I sign off. We'll see you next time on the Philippe Matthews Show after hours. Share this and have comments and let's talk about it. Talk to you guys later.